Well, have you heard about this? There's growing outrage and questions over the massacre of 52 Iranian exiles in Iraq. That attack taking place September 1st north of Baghdad. The spot is called Camp Ashraf, and it served as a sanctuary for Iranian exiles opposed to the regime in Tehran. International observers brand that as a crime against humanity, and there are calls for the United Nations to step in. Joining us now is former Attorney General Judge Michael McCasey on the investigation. Mr. Attorney General, thank you for coming in this morning.
Good to be here.
I mean, it's unbelievable. We have this horrible situation in Nairobi with the Islamic terrorists attacking there, chemical weapons in Syria, and this apparent massacre that hasn't gotten that type of international attention.
Well, this is only the latest in a series of attacks on these folks by the Iraqis, who are being manipulated by and are a client state of Iran.
You think that the Iranians are pulling the strings?
I think it's quite clear that they are. In connection with some of the attacks, the victims, those who survived, reported that some of the attackers spoke Farsi. So it's pretty clear that Iranians are involved.
It's horrible when you have the descriptions from the people who survived. They say, for example, that men were handcuffed and then shot in the head, and this sort of thing, just a total slaughter. But the Iraqis say, we don't know who did it. They deny that they were involved.
Yeah, well, a U.S. general who actually supports these folks and was in charge of the camp during the period that the United States troops were in Iraq said that he's seen videos and he recognizes U.S.-provided boots on the troops who attacked them. If you look at the videos of attacks that took place in 2009 and 2011, they're driving American Humvees. So the Iraqis obviously were involved, and they are doing what they did before, which is lying about it.
They're lying, and what does the White House and what do we do about this? I mean,
well, what the White House ought to do, what we've done up until now, regrettably, is nothing. And unfortunately, I think the administration is a little bit concerned about offending the Iranians now that we're supposedly trying to conclude some sort of agreement with them. These people, by the way, provided intelligence on the Iranian nuclear program. And it's clear why they want them out of why the Iraqis and the Iranians want them out of the way.
Look, this happened just this month, September 1st, a few weeks before Rouhani comes here to New York, where he's coming here tomorrow for the nuclear negotiations. Do you see that connection?
I think it's pretty obvious. These folks have contacts in Iran who can provide information if the Iranians are not doing what they say they're doing. So the best thing from the Iranian standpoint is to eliminate them.
Now, the group is the MEK, and they've been kind of controversial. For many years, they were on the terror list for a long time, just taken off it recently, and critics have faulted the group. What about that? Or should that have any sense of favor?
They were put on the list in an attempt to please the Iranians. They were kept on the list out of fear that the Iranians would do us harm in Iraq, which of course they did anyway. They were taken off the list as a result of a court case that they brought, and there was no evidence to keep them on. They have been friendly to the U.S. They stand for establishing a democratic, non-nuclear Iran with equal rights for everyone. The head of the organization is a woman, which drives the mullahs crazy. And the thing to do now is to airlift them out. If only the U.S. could just forget about any investigation, just airlift them out of Iraq.
Why can't we save them?
We can. What's lacking is political will.
From where?
From the United States. And we provided these people with a written guarantee signed by a U.S. general in 2003 when we invaded Iraq that they would be treated as protected persons.
We've gone through this before in the Holocaust. We've gone through this with other populations. It would seem we're at that point today where we should potentially be able to do this if it's warranted.
There's a photograph that I have here that shows one of the victims, one of the 52 people killed, a woman, and her protected person card. Regrettably, it wasn't bulletproof.
Oh, man. Well, Iran, they're praising what happened. Let's take a quick look at Press TV. They issued this statement. That's the Iranian news outlet. Iran praises Iraq efforts to close Camp Ashraf. Iran is calling on the country supporting the terrorist group, they say, to stop their financial and political backing. The attack came at the hands of a group of Iraqi people and their relatives of those martyred by the terrorists when they had joined forces with executed Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein in 1991 to crush the uprising. They say the Iraqis who stormed the camp want these, they call them terrorists, as you can see, expunged. Your view?
Well, my view is if it's coming from the Iranians, it's obviously false, and that's a perfect example of why we ought to get these people out, because the pressure is not going to relent.
Attorney General Michael McCasey, thank you so much. We'll see if anything at all happens this week at the United Nations.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. And we